Hello and welcome back to a very special edition of Home Truths. Last week, Ray and Vi Donovan spoke to us about the tragic events that led to their son's Christopher's death in 2001. Today, they share the very emotional side of when they first met the killers of their son, Christopher. It's part of a whole program called Restorative Justice. Some people are for it, some people are against it. You can make your own decisions, but what you will agree with me, I hope, is that when they speak, there is absolutely nothing that stops you from believing their side when they say they forgave the killers of their son. Have a look at this. Let's talk about the fact that there was a court case, and some strange things happened during that court case. Things that you'd never expect. Well, they got him. What happened?
Well, there was, out of the 14 boys and girls, the witnesses only saw 4. One was only charged with GBH. He got done in Guildford Crown Court. That's right. He got done in Guildford Crown Court, and he got GBH, £100 fine, £200 damages for Phillips glasses. The other 3 were charged with murder. We had to wait a year, a solid year, and it was in the Old Bailey. The first day there, our liaison officer didn't have a clue about the Old Bailey, and we were standing on the stairs waiting for our court case to go into the gallery upstairs, and above us were the families. And they were laughing and joking above us. And it wasn't a very nice thing to have to stand there for nearly an hour. Then Colin rang and said, "What are you doing there? Come into this witness protection room." We went in the room and we got talking. The case was dismissed. So we had to go back to another week, didn't we? Went back. They put you in this witness protection room.
What does that mean?
It's meant to protect you.
It's there to protect you. And then they call your cases on. They might say Regina versus these people. And you go upstairs to the foyer, and sitting there are the boys with their family. Down the other end of the room is the jury. And you're here, and you're sitting as close as we are to you, to these boys, and they're laughing and joking.
Where's the protection?
They're actually laughing and joking in front of you, and you want to get up and smack them. I'm not being funny.
No. It's terrible.
You want to get up and give them a smack.
Yeah.
And we say to kids today, with young people, so I'm old fashioned, I call them kids, yeah. We say to young people today, when you do that in school, how annoyed do teachers get with you? We know you're nervous. And I said, the jury were watching them and seeing how they acted. They more likely found them guilty before they even got in the room.
Yeah. Because they were laughing.
Because they showed us no respect.
Whether it be from fear or whatever it was, I mean, you're in the Old Bailey, it's an awesome place. Let alone a 15-year-old being on a murder trial.
And the parents weren't saying anything to them?
No,
the parents weren't trying to control them? And
no, they were laughing at all. There was one parent, he was a bit, we didn't look at him, we were too busy looking at the other one, but there was one a bit obnoxious. He looked at us as if we killed his son.
He kept glaring
at us like it was our fault.
Did anything happen? I don't want to lose too much of this, but that whole year between finding them and the court case, did anything happen at all with you guys and anyone connected to the family? There was no kind of intimidation, there was nothing that was going on beyond, no conversations, no meetings? No,
not at the beginning.
That came kind of when we afterwards, okay, I just want to make sure. Yeah. So you're there that close to them, there's any intimidation, the jury's seeing this, everyone's seeing this, lawyers, solicitors, everyone's seeing this. And you guys are supposed to be protected from this, and you're not.
And we're not. We're in the middle of it.
We're in the middle.
With nobody to help us.
And because we're parents of a young boy, instead of going up the gallery, they thought they'd protect us and put us in the court. So we're sitting in the court. Now, you've got the jury, and you've got the press seats next to the jury. Their families are sitting there. They put us in the well. So we're sitting in the well. Now, these boys are on bail.
Yeah.
They're not inside, they're not The dock is there, they're coming in the door, walking past us and going into the dock. Do you know the temptation to put your foot out? Yeah. There's only 2 big coppers sitting inside of us, holding us down. And they just walk in and give us a glare.
And do you want to just get
out of
the
chair?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Tell us about the case.
It was 6 weeks. There was loads of lies, a lot of lies. They were all trying to, they said they changed clothes, and this one was wearing this clothes and this one was wearing that clothes. But what Colin Sutton done again, very clever, he got mannequins, dressed them all up, and took photographs from every witness's house.
Every angle.
And showed the jury what happened. In fact, that road was closed 3 times. And that's how clever he was.
What was the most hurtful truth during that whole 6 weeks? What was the most hurtful truth that you heard?
A man, you're right.
Yeah.
A man was, I wasn't here this day, a man was in the dock and he was explaining how they killed Chris. And he was saying they stabbed on the head, and the judge said, "Can you explain it?" No, I can't. I can only show you. And he got out of the dock, went in the middle of the room, lifted up his foot and put it down with such force it shocked me. I can still hear it today.
I wasn't there.
I can still hear that bang today. That's the amount of force that they put on him. In fact, we watched a film from Chicken Shed, where they actually kick a chair down, and that is exactly how they got Chris. They didn't just stab, they really, yeah.
And on the other side, equally,
That really done me.
Equally, the most funniest thing, if it could be funny, was one of the solicitors of the boys. His phone went off and it played Mission Impossible, which was a bit bizarre.
Another bad thing was, Phil was on the dock on Friday. Not on the dock, sorry, he was in the witness box on Friday, giving his testimony.
Yeah.
We came home. The liaison was a dyna camera, and she said, "I've got bad news." We want. She said, "Phil's got to go in the back in the dock on Monday." I said, "But he's finished." No, they won't ask him more questions. Phil panicked all weekend. He wouldn't come out of his room. I let Chris down, whatever I said, you know. When we got there Monday, this one solicitor got up. He asked him 3 questions, 3 of the most stupidest questions, and the third one was, "Did you start the fight?" Phil went, "No, thank you very much." I felt like smacking him. I thought, you put this boy through, oh, he's just lost his brother, and you put him through this, trying to be clever.
Traumatising,
Yeah.
worse.
What happened with you and a father during the court case?
Well, when the boys were found guilty of murder, and there was one father, they're a bit obnoxious, and he got up and he went, "Hang in there, son." And there was a bit of a rumpus between the police and him and some other parents. We were rushed out, me, Vi, and the rest of the family, up to the canteen in the Old Bailey. We went up there. And I've got to tell you, no one cheered. There was no cheering, yeah, great. When you hear 3 kids crying, your heart goes out. I said to Vi, 4 families have lost
They weren't
today.
laughing anymore, they were sobbing.
You know, 4 families lost their boys today. Yeah, there's a lie, but there's going to be a different kettle of fish. We were in the canteen, and in walked one of the fathers. And he went to me, "I'm sorry." And I just went over, put my arms around him, we hugged. And I said, "Look, there's no petrol bombs. There's no comebacks, it's finished." We had to wait for 2 weeks for the boys to be sentenced. We're back in that canteen, weren't we? And he walked in, bought his cup of tea. As he was coming back, I got up and put out my hand. We shook hands, we talked for 20 minutes. The police said they'd never seen anything like it between 2 fathers. And Mick said to me, he said, "I followed you upstairs for one reason." I said, "Why is that?" He said, "I wanted you to hit me." He wanted me to hit him because of his son. You know, I always say to these young people, how many of your family take on your guilt like that man did? And I've met that man, and I said to him, "If I hit you that day, would you hit me back?" He went, "No." He wanted to really, you know, me to smack him up.
It would have felt, it made him feel better.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't have done really, but I think he thought it would have.
It wouldn't have done you anything.
No.
No.
Wouldn't make me feel better.
No.
Because smacking someone doesn't get Chris back.
No.
You can do positive things, rather than revenge isn't sweet.
You've done something, and we talk about it, and this week we've really been looking at it in terms of restorative justice, where the victims' family get to meet those people who have caused pain, hurt to their lives. You did this last year.
Yeah.
You met the 3.
We went 2 last year.
2 last year, out of the 3 who killed you.
Yeah, we met the first one this year.
Talk to me about last year.
Yeah. Last year, restorative justice doesn't just happen like that. It takes months of preparation. And we asked, could we meet Ryan Seymour?
So you asked.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Why?
Well, years ago, back in 2004, we were on a TV programme, and we wrote a letter to Ryan, and he wrote back saying, "I can accept your forgiveness, but will never forgive myself." And he said, "I would like to meet you one day." And we wrote back saying, "The door's always open, you're ready." Then we got a phone call from Stephen Andrews' wife, saying he wants to meet us. And we tried to arrange it, but there was no properly trained in them days to do it, so it fell through. It just collapsed. And we've been trying for years, haven't
But
we?
the main reason why
We
was
wanted to know.
we got justice in the court. Yeah, they went to prison.
But it didn't make sense why they
But
would
we
do
never
so.
got the truth. We needed the truth. We needed to know the truth. We needed to know that they were remorseful. Well, I kept thinking, and I know Ray thought it, that they'd come out of prison and they'd do this again to somebody's
they come out
family.
superstars.
You know, I really needed for them to change so that I couldn't live thinking they were going to do this again. And so I thought, if they actually really see us, because they never saw us in the court process.
We're just a bit of A4 paper.
We were nothing to them. It was all about them. If they really saw what they'd done, like you're seeing, then maybe that will make a difference in our lives and theirs.
So then this lady comes. We've been doing prison work now for a year after Chris died. We've been doing prison work. We've been doing victim awareness up and down the country. And this woman said, "What's stopping you seeing the young men?" 2 years ago, isn't it? And I said, "Well, nobody had. No one really gets in touch. Leave it to me." She works for a charity called Why Me. And next week we know this couple comes to our door from another charity called Calm Mediators. And they sat down and they went, "What can we do for you?" All the time from Christopher's death up to then, no one's ever asked us that.
What do you need?
It's everybody else in control, telling us what to do. And we both were stunned. I started crying. We just sat there stunned.
I actually asked her to say it again. She said, "What do you need?" I said, "Wow."
And what can we do for you?
Wow.
And we told them, and then
And of course, once
we said we want to meet Ryan. They went away. Came back 2 months later. I said, "We've got good news." We went, "Ryan wants to see you," and so did the other two.
That was
We only planned to meet one, and all three said they want to meet.
We were shocked.
Tell me about the day you met.
Well, we were in Mitcham, in a community centre in Mitcham. And then we're sitting there, the door handle opens, and in walks this young man, 25 years old, in a suit, properly dressed, tie. Really, I found, by that I realised he had respect for us. He wanted to show respect, you know. And he came in, I went like that, he came over, put his arms around me and whispered, "Thank you."
You went, so you hugged him?
Yeah. He then looked at Bar and went, "May I?"
Can I?
And she went, "Yeah," and he hugged her and he sat down. And the mediators went, "Right, you tell what's happened, Ryan." "No, sorry, Jack, you tell what happened, Jack." And Jack went, "When I was in prison in Feltham, I had not to do with Christopher's murder for a long time, for a few years. They put me on a victim awareness course. And from that day to this, I can't get Chris out of my head and out of my heart. I was a 15-year-old coward and I murdered your son and I'm sorry." We got it, didn't we?
All those years waiting. That could have been done in the court. But it didn't. And we had to wait all those years to hear the truth. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I heard it and I saw the remorse.
And we were able to tell him, like we're telling you, we were able to tell him what we went through. And do you know the amazing thing is? Every one of them said, "We didn't know you had to wait 16 weeks, no one told us." They didn't know.
They didn't know a lot of things.
Yeah.
They didn't know and they never saw.
So they didn't comprehend, they didn't
But
care.
Jack saw that day. He saw these
Are you ready for
kids
this?
and he saw.
He's an artist.
Okay.
And we helped a charity called Art by Offenders. And I said, "Are you working?" He said, "No, I was in the building site, I've been made redundant." I said, "Do you want a job?" He said, "What?" I said, "Do you want a job? I can give you a job as a curator of art." "You wouldn't do that for me." That night we came home, rang up the charity. The secretary started crying her eyes out. He's now with them.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's a good artist.
Because he's not on the street.
Yeah.
You understand?
I get it.
We're not the only ones. There's a lot of murder victims do this, we found out later, that wants to help the people. We want to give them the life that Chris has lost.
I was about to say, is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. We're giving them the life that Chrissy lost.
So that is what you're doing. You're kind of, you're giving them your life. You said it,
Yeah.
Right. You're giving them the life that Chris lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We always say that to them, we want you to have the life you never had. You can't do that by looking over your shoulder thinking we're going to come on you with a gun.
And in return, they're giving us back our life by telling us the truth.
Yeah.
Because that moment when he said,
Oh, it felt like $1 million.
We went in there,
It was
we went in that
incredible.
room with a ton of coal on our shoulders, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
And what we did, we took the ton of coal off and gave it to him.
Oh, we came away from that meeting
Like,
so
all our
high we
Christmas
couldn't
came
come
off
down.
us, yeah.
It was incredible.
Then the
wasn't
second meeting was even more astonishing. That was in Epsom. I've got to tell you, I did ask Jack, I said to Jack, "How did you feel coming here?" And Jack said, "Walking down the road, I thought I can handle these two." He said, "The minute I touched that door handle, I shook like a leaf." He said, "I couldn't stop shaking and my hands sweated like a tap. I didn't know what was going to happen when I walked through that door." He said, but the way you all treated me was not what I was expecting. I think he was expecting a smack like as you walk through.
So even though he'd gone down the process of the questions and answers coming back from him to us and us
Months
asking
of
preparation, he was still scared, and he was, even so, we were still a bit nervous of how this really was going to go. We knew how he hoped it would go, and I'm sure he did, but none of us really know until you get in that room what it's going to feel like. And no, he didn't know that.
That night.
And that's amazing.
Yeah, that night. And I'm picturing this, it's just you two, after you've done the family thing or friends thing, it's just you two. This is before the second meeting, I just want to deal with this first meeting.
Yeah.
That night, just you two, at home. What was the conversation?
We didn't shut up.
Stop talking all night.
We were amazed by the honesty.
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep.
He didn't make excuses, he told us the truth. Now, that really got me. Because I respect people to tell me the truth, you know. And he told the truth, and we just couldn't stop it. Did he really say that? Did he really say that?
We were having this conversation all night long.
In fact, we were bringing friends and telling friends, you know, we're bringing our friends, our colleagues up, saying, you won't believe what happened.
I can only liken it to the equivalent of winning the polls and wanting to tell everyone.
Right.
How excited
He
you
brought
are.
his probation officer, and our friend who was with us, you're allowed to bring someone with you as a second. Well, I'll explain, there's 2 rooms. You've got the room you meet in, you've got a get out room, so if anything's too heavy you can go next door with your friend and get a bit of time off. And when we got out, she said, wish his father was here to hear this. You know, this is the father who put his hand up that night. And I forgot to tell you, after the court case we had to move.
Yeah.
Because his father put all signs around saying Jack Hall is innocent everywhere we lived. And New Year's Day, when everybody was celebrating New Year's Day, getting up in the morning to hang over, we were moving.
We really did wish his father had come.
Yeah.
To hear his son tell the truth.
So we were just ringing everybody up, weren't we?
Yeah.
Couldn't stop talking.
It's incredible.
We waited all that time, 11 years to
Yeah.
hear the truth. Well, nearly 10 years then it was to hear the truth.
The release was amazing.
Because I'm stuck on this, the fact that you never really got a chance to say goodbye to Chris. You realised, for whatever reason, and I kind of think I get the reason now, that you had to make sure that people understood what it means to take someone's life, what it means to destroy a family in many ways, and how you have to then start putting that family back together.
Yeah.
And then you met those young men who murdered your son. And I'm trying to find out, because I've not heard it yet, whether you actually now are at a point where Chris is buried and the grieving isn't as bad as it was. It's like you likened to a while ago when you said about you walked into that room with a bag of coal on your shoulder, you let it go.
Yeah.
This is not about letting it go in terms of because he's always your son, but have you really now just moved on with your life?
It shifted us.
It shifted you.
It shifted us forward a bit.
Because
more.
the blame I had, I couldn't forgive myself for not giving him a lift that night. Yeah?
I was going to go back to that near the end.
I was able to get that to him.
Yeah.
And Philip wrote, not the first, we'll come to the second point in a minute. Philip wrote the second point letter in all because Philip was guilty as well.
Yeah.
And do you want to talk about the second one now?
Briefly, yeah, let's do that.
Well, we were in Epsom, weren't we? Again in the community hall. And then he walked, Stephen Andrews. And I stood up and went like that. He didn't walk, he ran. Grabbed hold of me, squeezed me, took every bit of breath out of my body, cried on my shoulder, kept saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Every time we broke, he grabbed hold of me again and squeezed me again. And he just wouldn't let go. And I could remember smelling aftershave, like I smelled tobacco and all that. That's funny things to go in your head, isn't it? And he squeezed, then he turned to Vi and he grabbed hold of you.
He grabbed hold of me, and then everybody was crying.
All
the
the
probation
professionals were
officer
crying.
who was in the room was sobbing, and it was so emotional. It was unbelievable.
What's the first thing you said to him?
The first thing I said to him was,
You told me to forgive him, didn't you?
I want you to know, Stephen, I forgive you. That was the first thing I said to him.
What did he say to you?
Thank you.
Just said thank you. What else can you say?
He told us the truth. We can't go into details what he did, but he told us the truth. He told us exactly what he did, didn't he?
To be able to say that to someone, to look them in the eye and say that, is a great release.
We did the same with Jack, didn't we?
It's another letting go.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't mean we don't get angry, because we go to Chris's grave and we get angry.
But
That's reality of life. but it means we choose not to live in it. So now to be able to say to him, I forgive you, young man, move on, we're moving on. Yeah, it won't change the past.
Let's just say straight, restorative justice, you don't have to forgive to do restorative justice. People might think, oh, I've got to forgive, you don't have to, but it could lead to it.
It just happened, automatically it happened.
But it helps address those questions.
Yeah.
You
Why?
need
Why?
answered.
Yeah.
Why?
Why?
Whether you forgive or not, you just need to hear.
Yeah.
You've talked about forgiveness, and we're coming to the end now. And I had a point.
I just want to, sorry. We talked about the last point in a second. I'm sorry, I'm taking you.
No, go on.
At the meetings, we said to them, would you like to come to Christmas grave and pay your respects?
Mm-hmm.
Both said yes, and Stephen kept his word.
Only one of them turned up.
Yeah, we were waiting for a judge to sort us about, and he came. And it was a cold, wet day, wasn't it? Yeah. And then Christmas, there's about 100 graves with a big hedge around it. There's a massive big grave up. We don't know why he's got this hedge around. And we said, there's a second grave up there on the left. And we let him walk up, his probation officer, and we walked away. But as we looked round, he was on his knees on the grave. We came back 20 minutes later because we were freezing, weren't we? He was still on his knees.
Still there.
And we got up, and he stood up and went, thank you for this. Thank you for letting me do this. And he went, may I come back? I said, let me say something before I answer that question. Chris is here, we're here, you're here. If Chris was alive, this is exactly what he said to you, get on with your life. Yeah. And if you want to come back, you can. He went, I don't want to upset no one, say someone's here. So you just telling me Christopher's friend. He didn't know what to do, did he?
Stephen has since said that we gave him back his life when he didn't deserve it. And we said, actually, Stephen, you gave us back ours. That's what restorative justice does. It turns the animal and the monster into a human being.
Then March the 1st, we met the third boy, this March just gone. Mm-hmm. That was Ryan, and we met him in South Croydon, wasn't it? Yeah. Still in different venues. Mm-hmm. We met him there, and he came with his dad. That's how I knew about Mick when he said, oh, he took the punch. And his dad had to listen to what his son did. Every one of them boys, the three boys, were very honest. But the saddest thing is, Ryan thought Chris would get back up. He heard him moaning, and he thought it'd be like a DVD game when Chris would get back up. And we tell kids,
I couldn't believe it. I said, Ryan, I cannot conceive that you would imagine if you stamped on Chris's head that he would get up off the floor.
But they do.
He said, but it happens on the video games.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, Sam, this might look rude. I've got my phone out. I'm not looking up texts. I've got something to read to you in a second. Look, carry on by while I dig him up.
But they do. I mean, we've seen on the news lately about, in terms of video games and film. It started with films and now it's video games. That people feel that what happens there is reality, and it's not reality at all.
That guy said that.
Yeah.
Didn't he?
Yeah.
I played those games.
Yeah.
They have no idea of the unreal world they've lived in.
You got a text from one of the. I think was it Ryan?
Ryan, and we've been texting each other. I don't know if I really texted. This was the day after we met him.
It says, Ryan Vi, I thought that I would send you a text to say thanks once again for being so forgiving, letting me have another chance at life. I hope that yesterday will allow you to move on that little bit more. I think the work you're doing in the name of Chris is amazing. I'm going to Darren's. I'm going to take him up on his offer, as it's something I've wanted to do for a long time. It's an amazing opportunity for me. I'll be in contact with you soon. Please keep up your good work, Ryan. And Ray says, Ryan, thank you for your kind words. Look forward to hearing from you soon. Say hello to your dad. He says, if there's anything if there's anything we can do to help you, please let us know. He said, thank you. I can't begin to explain how grateful I am, how much I appreciate everything. That's amazing.
That was a good work.
If you'd asked me that 11 years ago, I would have said you're crazy.
I was about to ask you that.
Yeah.
But
if you said to me, both of us 11 years ago, we'd be hugging them boys, I think I would have necked you.
Yeah.
No way.
That's restorative justice. That's forgiveness.
Yeah. And it's healed us.
Yes.
And
have you?
It's great.
Have you? And this is the thing I wanted to come back to, because I sensed it when I read your website. I sensed it when you were talking earlier on when we started this interview. When you talked about you were tired and you couldn't give him that lift. Have you forgiven yourself?
Yeah. I've got to be honest, giving them belly, but you know who got me to do that? Colin Sutton.
Please.
He took me aside one day, 6 months went down, about 6 months down. He pulled me aside and he went, I've got to talk to you. And I thought he's going to arrest me for something. Yeah. And then he went, the what ifs will not bring Chris back. Let it go.
Let it go.
Ray, if you drove that car, he said, you could have killed someone. You and Chris could have been dead. You could have killed someone.
But it's not been
Let
easy,
it go.
is it?
And Phil, the second boy, Phil wrote a letter to the second boy, and in the letter he put, I hope the last 11 years has been as rotten for you as they've been for me. I will not see my brother again. He will not be at my wedding. He's getting married in August. He will not be at my wedding. He will not be my best man. He went on and on, didn't he?
Yeah.
And at the end of it, there was a few more words at the end he put, and by the way, I do forgive you. I want you to move on. When we met Ryan, he said, I don't want to write a letter this time, no, just tell him this. I don't hate you, but I hate what you've done.
Yeah.
And if you want to take something, if you Google Phil Donovan, you can see him online, you could take some things off that.
But there's been a shift in his life too, as well as ours, because he said, for the first time, I put the blame squarely on the right person instead of carrying it around. Isn't that wonderful? He said, Dad, I feel better than I felt.
Christmas anniversary, he rang us up, said, it's the best I felt, he said.
Isn't that marvellous?
And one more thing that these young people don't realise, when you have a murder, you lose all your friends.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you know that. But Philip lost his identity.
Yeah.
Everywhere he went, he was known as, you're the brother of the murdered boy. You're Christopher's brother. He wasn't Phil Donovan.
Yeah.
He left our house and he's now in the Midlands. He had to move away.
Just to get
So we lost another son in a way, if you know what I mean,
Yeah.
because of this action.
Yeah.
That's it.
I hope people realise who are thinking that it's fun to be in gangs, it's fun to do these things.
God.
I hope just by listening to you today, both you, Ray and Vi, that they understand the stupidity of some of their actions and they see that there are consequences to everything. Ray, Vi, thank you so much for talking to us today. Thank you. Thank you to Ray and Vi there. Now, if you'd like to know more information about what Ray and Vi do in terms of the educational work, if you'd like to support them in what they do, please go onto their website, which is the ChristopherDonovanTrust.org. That's the ChristopherDonovanTrust.org. The information is at the bottom of your screens now. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, if you've got an issue that you think I should be talking about, a concern that you think people need to be aware of, you can simply get at me right now by emailing trevor@breaklondon.co.uk. That's trevor@breaklondon.co.uk. You can also hit me up on Twitter or Facebook at Trevor's Word. It's right there, or at Break London. Until I have the pleasure of your company again, remember this: words are one of the greatest weapons known to man. They can pierce a heart, but you know what? They can also heal any broken soul. So do think carefully whenever you're delivering your home truths. Until next time, take care.